see my screen here. Can you all see my screen? Is it okay?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, perfect. Sorry, my throat is not that great, but I hope this works out. So as part of this very short presentation, I want to talk about three things. The first one is a bit about the Oxford India Center for Sustainable Development, or OICSD. What are the scholarships at the OICSD? And number three, what is the application process for the scholarships? The OICSD is based at Somerville College. It's part of the Oxford India Center. It's part of the University of Oxford. It was created in 2013 to have young, bright minds from India to come to Oxford on scholarships. And the focus is on having students come to Oxford on courses which tackle some of the complex challenges and opportunities posed by sustainable development in India. So that's a keyword here. The scholarships we have focus on sustainable development and India. It's quite broad in a sense that it encompasses social, environmental, economic, and policy aspects. So we are not focusing on one given area. As long as your research or your course satisfies sustainable development and challenges for India, you should be good. And I'll discuss more in detail on what the exact specifications and entry requirements and the eligibility criteria are going to be. Our focus is on research, which is interdisciplinary and cross-cutting. So we draw in from law, governance, engineering, technology, as well as humanities, physical, medical, and social sciences. So again, it's quite broad in terms of what the focus areas are. And to give you an idea on some of the work that's being done at the center, I just want you to look at the last bullet point. I think that might give you an idea. So the center does work on water security, food and nutrition, law, environmental policy, solar energy, climate change, public policy, gender inequality, human rights, constitutional law, human-wildlife conflict, antibacterial resistance, policy for electric vehicles, impact of climate change on birds. I just gave that example to give you an idea that the research being done at the center is quite broad. And if you were here thinking, how do I define sustainable development? I think one of the easy ways to do it is to go to the United Nations website and look at their definition on what the sustainable development goals are. So if your research fits into any of those 17 categories there, you should have a case to make saying that your research fits into sustainable development, which would allow you to be eligible for some of the scholarships at the center. Now, coming on to the second part as to what the scholarships are, after this meeting, I would recommend that if you are interested to apply to Oxford and for these scholarships, go to the OICSD website. That's sum.ox.ac.uk/theoicsd. When you go, you have a tab for scholarships. Click on that tab, and what it would show you is that there are 8 scholarships available for the next year. Now, the timelines are important. For you to be eligible for these scholarships, you will have to apply by the December-January deadline for applications at the Oxford University. There is no separate application process for the scholarships. So you only make an application to your course of interest, and if you're eligible, your application comes straight to the OICSD, and then we go through your application to see whether you should get the scholarship or not, and I'll talk about the shortlisting process and the interview process. But the key point here is you apply to your course of interest at the Oxford University website. There is no separate application for the scholarships. Check the eligibility criteria, and once your application from your department comes to the OICSD, for the scholarship shortlisting, we basically look for these four main things. The first one is academic merit. How good is your academic performance? The second is how relevant are your studies to sustainable development, the work being done at the center and India. The third is how well do you understand the challenges in the area of sustainable development faced today by India? And the fourth criteria that we look for only for scholarships, I'm talking here, is the leadership potential. Once you click on the OICSD scholarship tab, you would see a page which looks like that. And from there, you can find a lot more about the scholarships and the eligibility criteria. Your application will typically comprise of your CV, your transcript, which is your grade from university, the mark sheet, your statement of purpose, and your references. Now, if you want to talk about these scholarships or any given scholarship, or you want to talk about what are the different documents that you have to submit as part of your application, I'm more than happy to discuss that. I'll stop my presentation there. I'll briefly touch upon something now. And I think you might find this useful. So if you go to the OICSD website and click on the scholarships tab, you would find what are the different scholarships which are available, what is the award level, and how many scholarships are there. And you can find a bit more by clicking on the last tab on the scholarships website page. So you have 8 scholarships at Oxford University only for Indian students, which makes this scholarship one of the largest scholarship awarding body in the UK. You have the Elizabeth Moore Scholarship, which is an MSc scholarship. You have a scholarship only for MSc in Modern South Asian Studies, which is the Oxford Indira Gandhi Radhakrishnan Scholarship. And we have a new scholarship, which is the Savitribai Phule Scholarship, which is for candidates from marginalized communities and underrepresented backgrounds in India. Now, for example, just a random example, I'm going to pick, let's say, Elizabeth Moore Scholarship. When you click on that tab, it takes you to a new page and it tells you what courses you can apply for to be eligible for the scholarship. And these are the list of all the courses. Now, let's pick one of these courses, which is, let's say, MSc in Modern South Asian Studies, as an example. When you click on that tab, it's not working right now, but it's basically going to look like this for you. Now, when you go on to the course that you want to apply for, and this is kind of the most important step for you to identify which course you want to apply to. Read about that course, see if it's of interest to you, and then go on the entry requirements as to what entry is required. Now it says a first class or upper second. What does that mean? What that means is you need to go to this particular tab here, which says if your degree is not from the UK, visit our international qualifications page. And there you can see what exactly they mean by a first class or a upper second class. So the thing is, when you apply, you have to be very sure that you meet the entry criteria based on academic merit. And if I were to click on this particular tab, guidance on qualifications and grades, and then click on which country, India. So I go to India. Now, if you're applying for a master's course, what it tells you is that you need an overall grade of 65% in your undergraduate from an institution of national importance or 75% from any other institution. And the link, institutions of national importance, tells you which institutes fall within that category. If I go back to the course page and see how to apply, it tells you what documents are needed in order to make the application. So you basically need your CV or your resume. You need 3 referees. You need the official transcript, which is your mark sheet. you need a statement of purpose, which is extremely important, this particular document, statement of purpose. And for this particular course, you need a written work, but not for all courses. So again, my recommendation is if you're planning to apply, you need to be very clear as to which course you're applying. Are you eligible? What is the deadline? And you have to meet that deadline, which is typically January or December this year. For example, for this particular course, the deadline is 19th January. So for most Oxford scholarships, this is the deadline for this particular course. Therefore, you apply by that December or January deadline. So we are towards the last week of November. So I do hope that you put in your applications on time and apply by the deadline. Even if you miss by 1 minute, you won't be able to apply. So I'll go back to the scholarships page, and I think I'll stop sharing my screen now. And if you have any question, I'm more than happy to take. So I've taken about 12 minutes for the presentation, but I want this to be interactive. So if you have any questions, my recommendation request is unmute yourself. If possible, turn on the camera so I can see you. That would be good. In fact, there are 35 participants. I know some of you might not be able to turn on the camera, but if you can, it's good. It's just good for me to see who is on the call, and it's easy to interact.
Yeah, hello, sir. This is Rajiv.
Hi, Rajiv.
Yeah, so I have one question regarding. So, do we have to separately apply for the scholarship, or is it when we are applying for the courses, we will be automatically assumed to be eligible for our applications should go to the a scholarship department for the consideration.
Okay. Thanks, Rajiv. So the question Rajiv has is, do we apply for the course and scholarships separately, or do we just make one application to the course, and if we are selected, the application is forwarded to the scholarship department? You only make one application. You only make one application to the course you're applying for, and if you're accepted, your application would come to the scholarship body automatically. So you make one application to the course you're applying for. Is that okay, Rajiv? Does that answer your question?
Yes, and I have another question. Actually, I didn't go through all the courses. So, does this all the scholarship eligible for 1 year master's course, or is it applicable for the 2 year like in 1 year course? So, is it applicable for 1 year tenure, or 2 year tenure also?
It's applicable for both short and long-term course. 1
Okay.
year. So if you go to that scholarships tab, which I showed you on the website, some of the courses are for 1 year master's. Application process, what documents are required, and also about the return work. Renuka, I'm going to give a slightly longer answer because I think this question would be quite common across participants on the call. And I'm going to go through each document one by one. So you asked about return work. I'm also going to talk about the other documents as well, and then come on to return work, if that's okay.
Yeah, absolutely. Fine.
So the first thing that you need is your CV or the resume. And for the CV or resume, what you need to specify very clearly is your education background, your university, previous university that you have graduated from or are studying currently. What percentage did you get in different years? or what CGPA you had. What rank you had is important because different universities have a different grading system. So specify in your CV what rank you have, out of how many. That's a very important thing that people look for when they evaluate your application. Specify very clearly what awards you have, what medals you got. Don't be very humble in your CV. Be very upfront. If you have won something, specify it clearly. And also make it clear that it was prestigious or not, or out of how many was the scholarship or award given. If you have done any presentation, if you have any publication, if you have done any conference talks, specify it. If you have done any internship which is relevant for this task, specify that. Any blogs, any extracurricular, mention it. So that takes into account your CV. So highlight both your academic and professional, if any, qualifications, experience, skills in the CV. Keep it short, keep it simple, but make it very clear as to what your achievements are, what your skills are, what your research background is, what courses you have done, which university you have been to, and so on and so forth. So that takes into account the first document that you need, which is your CV. And make sure that the CV is very similar, not similar, same as what details you put in the application form. People will check. No dates, no titles, no awards should be different between the two, even spelling wise. So make it consistent. That's the first document, which is your CV or the resume. The second document now is going to be your transcript or the mark sheet. This is from your undergrad university, where you say these were the percentage. Now, if your transcript is in Hindi or Marathi or any other language, you need to translate it into English. That is very important. The third document is your statement of purpose. The statement of purpose is separate from the written work. The statement of purpose is a very important document. So some courses will not ask you for written work, but nearly every course will ask you for a statement of purpose. In the statement of purpose, you have to specify why are you applying for this particular course at Oxford. Explain your motivation. They would ask you to specify your relevant experience and education. They would also ask you to specify the areas that interest you and that you want to intend to specialize in at Oxford. So 3 things in SOP. Number 1, your motivation for applying. Number 2, your experience and education. Number 3, what specific areas are of interest to you and that you want to specialize in. Now that statement of purpose, when it comes to us, so if you're selected for your MSc program, your application comes straight to us for the scholarship. We then look for how does your research or your area of study or your course links with sustainable development. How is it relevant to India? What leadership potential you have? And how well do you understand challenges faced by India? So the statement of purpose is like 500 to 1,000 word document, but it's one of the most important documents as part of your application. The fourth piece of work that you submit is your reference letter. You typically submit 2 to 3 reference letters. In the reference letter, you have to request your referee to specify your academic achievements, your interest, link what you have done, relates with what you did with them, and how it relates with the course you're going to do, what your personal motivation is. And typically, Oxford requires you to submit 3 reference letters. I would request that out of these 3, 2 reference letters are from an academic referee. I mean, are from your university professors or teachers. And 1, if you're working for any professional company or environment, it's from them. But 2 out of the 3 have to be academic references. Renuka, now I'll come to your question. What is the written work or the essay? Written work or essay is a technical piece of document that relates with the course you're applying for. An example of that would be, let's say you're applying for a course which is on water policy. For example, if you have done any written work, any blog, any essay, any technical work, any research paper on water policy in India, focusing on the state of Maharashtra, focusing on a particular river as to how that river has been polluted over time or not, has been cleaned, how the livelihoods depend on water from that river, how the local species have been affected, humans and other, that would be a written work. It's a technical written work that allows a professor at Oxford to evaluate how good you are in terms of explaining an idea, defending an idea, doing research, and understanding the challenges, and maybe proposing solutions. Yeah. So think of you, imagine that you're a professor, for example, and you're taking a student who wants to work with you. You're asking them for a return work which allows you to gauge, evaluate, investigate how good they are in terms of expressing their ideas, in terms of carrying out research, in terms of defending the argument, in terms of putting an opinion, in terms of rationalizing an idea in clear English. These are the things they would look for. And how committed you are, how passionate you are, all those would be shown in the return work. And I don't need to say it, but if any para or statement in return work is copied from anywhere, they have a software to do the checks. If anything is taken from Wikipedia or any source, it would show up. Application would be out. It has to be your work. And if you take anything from anywhere, reference it very clearly. Reference it. Reniko, does that answer your question?
Yes. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you.
Welcome.
I have to ask something. Siddharth, thank you for the presentation though. I want to ask you something with respect to the written work. Like it is not required to be published. Like for example, I applied for, I did apply for one of the Oxford courses, which is MPhil in development.
Yeah.
There is also they say about written work. So what I have given it over there is one of the research which I did with Azim Premji University. It's an internal research for MA in feasibility. So I have the framework which you were telling. It's an internal research document. Like hypothesis, methodology, proposed solutions, etc. have been mentioned, but it is not published. Will it be considered?
Yes, it will. The written work does not need to be published. Does that answer your question? So you can submit, absolutely.
Yes. Thank you.
Welcome.
And one more thing I want to ask you with respect to the scholarships. With scholarships also depends on the courses, right?
Yeah.
The courses we apply for. Okay. There are no
sorry, Sanjana, I didn't get your question, the last one. Sanjana, can't hear you. Okay.
I was saying we don't have any like once I submit the course, there was a section which says I will be considered for the most of the scholarships, and I don't have to submit a specific documents to them. Does it how like this is how it works, like, or do we have to like submit other documents as well before it's finalized, the decision is made?
So the way it works for the OICSD scholarships, and I'm only talking about the OICSD scholarships because different scholarships have different criteria. For the 8 OICSD scholarships, you only make one application to the course. If your department, if your course program accepts you, your application, the one you submitted, comes to us at the OICSD. You don't have to submit any extra documents.
And so OISD scholarship, all the courses for Indian students are applicable, is it? Or there are specific courses only?
So different scholarships have different courses that they consider. So if you go to the OISD website, Some scholarships consider only one courses, which is MSc in Modern South Asian, which is the Radhakrishnan scholarship. So I think what might help is, I'm quickly going to reshare my screen. Can you see my screen, Sanjana? So this is the Elizabeth Moore Scholarship.
Yes, I can.
These are the courses for which you're eligible for this scholarship. If you go to Fuller Scholarship, then the list of courses is larger. Can you see here? So as long as
Yes,
you're these
I
courses,
can.
and if you're selected for any of these courses, let's say you apply for, I don't know, MSc in Energy Systems, you only make one application for MSc in Energy System. If they accept you, your application that you submitted comes to the center. Then we would do the shortlisting. No extra documents are required until the point of shortlisting.
Okay. And once you have also shortlisted, you will be contacting me directly. There will be no, like, the university doesn't play any role over there.
So if you're shortlisted, the center will contact you for an interview. Then there's an interview. And if you go through the interview, then the scholarship comes to you. Yes.
Okay, that makes sense. Thank you. Thank you
Welcome.
so much, Siddharth. Thank you.
All the best.
Siddharth, I have one more question regarding the Somerville. I think this is one of the college of Oxford University. I think Oxford University consists of, I think, around 40 colleges.
Yes.
So we have, and during the last year, I've applied for the MPP.
Mm.
So at that point of time, I've chosen the Balabatnik government school.
Yes.
So and we have to like select the halls. So there is like preferences I have to like give. This is the first halls I'm selecting out of 46.
Mm.
So for that, during the application time, we have to select the Somerville College. I
You
do
don't.
not have.
No. So
Okay.
you can select any college that you want to.
Okay.
If you're eligible for Somerville scholarships, and if you get the scholarship, you would be transferred to Somerville automatically.
Okay. Okay.
If you
Yeah.
want a scholarship.
Yeah, I got the line.
Yeah.
Okay.
But during
That was
application,
mentioned like that.
you don't need to specify Somerville.
Okay.
In a way, everything is automatic in the sense that you don't specify Somerville, you don't specify OICSD scholarship, you just make an application to your course.
Okay.
And then if you get through the course, your application comes to the Somerville College OICSDs, and then we do the shortlisting. So I think if I were sitting in this Zoom call as an applicant, I would be thinking, wait a second, I don't specify Somerville, I don't specify scholarship, everything is automatic in a way,
Mm.
then what's the point of this particular call? Yeah. So the point is,
Yeah.
if your area of research relates to sustainable development, highlight that in your application.
Mm.
Highlight that in your SOP. You know why? Because when it comes to us, we are going to check whether it links with sustainable development or not. So although if your research links with sustainable development and you don't highlight it in your SOP or in your application, then your case becomes weaker. I'm not saying that no matter what you do, now make a case that it is sustainable development. No. So don't feel you can't, but at the same time, underplay it either. And that's the main idea of this call, is for you to be aware that there are 8 scholarships at Oxford based at the India Center. If your work links with sustainable development in the application, make a case that, you know what, this is the area I'm working on. These are the challenges India faces. This is what I'm going to study at Oxford. This is how I'm going to contribute to the growth of India on these particular challenges. And then your case.
One last thing. What exactly is the definition of sustainable development, say for OISD? Because for me, it's any contribution towards sustainable development goals. For me, that is sustainable development.
So that's the short answer to your question. If your research links with 17 SDGs as defined by the UN, you can make a case that your research links with SDGs.
But sir, I think here the scholarship are linked with the specified courses that you have shown through the ETA scholarship.
Yes.
So like those courses are like eligible for the like getting into these one of these scholarship.
Mm-hmm.
So I think here like whatever be mentioned in the SOP,
Yeah.
whatever we draft in the SOP, if we do not fall into these category like these courses, so we will not be eligible for this scholarship. We have to be like applied for one of out of these courses.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
And one more question regarding the document that you were like answering to the Sanjana's answer. So you have mentioned like that we have to like submit two academic references, LOR.
yeah,
So
three.
in
Typically
my
three.
case, I graduated in year 2016, and after that, last 7 years I am working. Currently, right now I'm working in the like a Prime Minister office as a research assistant officer.
Yeah.
But I lost the touch. Although I have one LOR from the institute, I can go for the another LOR also. But I am an engineering student. Right now I'm in a policy.
Yeah.
Governance and the policy. So I think getting a LOR from the my previous institutions like Niti Aayog and the here from the PMO will be more relevant to show my work and
Yeah.
a study I wanted to do right now. Because if I go back to the academic institutions to get the LOR, they will comment on my engineering background. So how I could able to justify?
Yeah.
Can I take two LOR from the professional and one LOR from the academic institutions?
Rajiv, if that is more relevant for your course, then you can do it. So what I
Okay.
would suggest in that case is this. If you go to, let's say, the course you want to apply for, this now is an example for MSc in Modern South Asian Studies. Now see what they say here. Referees 3 overall, academic preferred. Now they say 3 academic references are encouraged. They don't say we need. Encourage means this is what we are recommending. Though if necessary, you may use 1 professional references. But in your case, if you feel that 2 professional references are more relevant, then you can make that case as well, because it's not saying you have to, it's just saying you are encouraged to. It's a recommendation, not a requirement. So what I would say is this is for one course. If you are applying for any course, go for that course and see what the recommendation is. And based on that, make a decision. But again, it's a recommendation. It's an encouragement. It's not a requirement. So if you're working for PMO office and 2 professional references are what makes sense for you, then go with 2. But check with the course website.
Thank you. Thank you so
Welcome.
much. It's helpful.
Welcome.
Yeah.
Any questions, anyone? Just unmute and ask.
I have one question from my side. Oxford application doesn't ask for anyone's caste. Then how does can be become eligible for Savitribai Phule scholarship?
So for the Phule scholarship, it's self-certified, self-declaration. So the way it would work is you will not be asked for any proof to start with. You say, I am eligible for the scholarship and I'm applying for it. If you are given the scholarship, at that point, only when you're given the scholarship, we would ask for a proof. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So the application is self-declaration. I say, I'm eligible for the scholarship. I meet the criteria. Here is my application. We go through it. We do the shortlisting. We do the interviews. And if you get the scholarship, as a condition to get the money for the scholarship, we say, can you provide the proof? That's it.
Yes. Thank you.
Welcome.
Siddharth, I think I have a last question to
I also
conclude
have
from
one
my
question.
side.
I'll come.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have a question.
Please go ahead, ma'am. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you, Siddharth, for such a wonderful session. I am Jetna. So I
Ajit.
have a bit detailed question. I come from a healthcare background. So I'm a dental surgeon and I've completed my master's in public health and I'm into services for last 8 years. I'm into clinical and public health both services. So mostly my work has been in oral health, mostly related to oncology. Now I'm specifically looking into oncology early detection and screening. So I know like this area I have to work. Now the courses which I can see on screen, it's like only one course I think is relevant in my case, that is MSc in Global Health Science and Epidemiology. So if I know my area of interest, so I have narrowed down that. So how would I relate with it? Will that be alignment into the broad spectrum of global health science and epidemiology? So how should I look at it? This is my question.
So if my understanding is correct, you have identified one particular MSc course that is of interest to you.
Mm-hmm.
My request is on that course web
Mhm.
page, you have tabs on how to apply eligibility criteria, percentage, transcript, everything.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that you already mentioned. But what I was meaning to say is if I'm working in oncology and if I take global health science and epidemiology, so further into the course, in case I get selected, will I get the make the choice to select the oncology part only in that?
Okay. So on that front, what you would need to do is there is a
Mhm.
separate course website. In that,
Okay.
you would have a list of
Mhm.
courses.
Yeah.
And typically what happens for these MSc courses is coming to your question, which is a very specific question. I want to specialize in oncology.
Mhm.
Typically, again, you need to check for your course. What happens is the first term, first 3 months, you are
Mhm.
taught core courses, which is broad courses. In the
Mhm.
second term and the third term, you are allowed to take electives. These
Okay.
electives allow you to specialize in your area of interest, which might be oncology. So when you make the application, what you should do, ideally, is say, this is my background in oncology and dental care. I want to specialize in this area, but I also want to do these courses in Michaelmas term, which is the first term. But in the next few terms, I'm quite keen on these elective courses. So it shows
Okay.
that you are someone who has interest in that course.
Okay.
So for MSc courses, I think it's always a good idea to go through the course website, see what are the list of modules which are taught, and link your research, your background, your previous coursework with course that you
Okay. I think the link currently is not working because if I click on that, there is some error I can see. Yeah. So maybe once I'm able to open this, I'll get, I can find my answer in that.
absolutely. And if you still have doubts, you should contact the course coordinator.
Okay.
Every course website would have a contact person's name. You can write to them and say, this is my background. I want to do oncology. I saw these are the electives. I had a question. Ask them. Why not?
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. Thank you so much. Yeah.
All the best.
They do reply, just adding it over here, because I was thinking to apply for MSc in economic development, but my background was not that and I was very confused. So I wrote to them and they revert back maximum in 3 days. Like 3 days we will get a revert. In fact, they told me which courses to apply for based on my background.
Perfect. So I think it's just worth doing. If there's any doubt, you can write to them and ask which course to apply for. In fact, you can also apply for more than one course. No one stops you. Any other question?
I think I have the last one. So, what is the tentative duration between the getting admission offer from the course side and also the scholarship acceptance from the department? So, what is the tentative duration or a gap we have to wait? Is there
The OICSD scholarship will happen around April.
Okay.
And by April, if you're shortlisted, you would be quickly happen in April. By May, you would be informed whether you have the scholarship or not.
And what is the tentative number of candidates selected for if there is like one scholarship? So how many guys is getting interviewed for like one scholarship? Like in India, for any government job, there is even for the UPSC, for one positions there is like 1:7 criteria. Most of the government organizations are like PSU follow. So is there some kind of ratio there?
I would say it's very hard to answer, and I don't
Okay.
want to answer that as well because some of the scholarships are quite new. So Fuller Scholarship was launched last year. So I'm hoping the numbers of applicants would increase with time. So the ratio that we had last year will most likely not be the ratio for this year. So don't worry about that. Make an application if your course links with it, and then see where it goes.
Yeah. Thank you so much. I
Well-
think.
Hello, sir.
I have one very basic query regarding my application. I have experience in development sector for 8 years.
Mhm.
I did work with various government organizations, but I had a very low score, that is near about 48 to 49% in my graduate. So how does it affect to my application process?
So what I would suggest is you go to the course website, whatever course you're going to apply for, and check their eligibility criteria. So most courses, all courses will tell you what is the minimum percentage you need to make an application for that course.
Most of the courses are asking for higher second class, but I didn't have that grade. So that's why I'm asking that question.
So in that case, what I would suggest is you write to the course coordinator, and they typically will reply to you and tell them that this is my transcript, this is my percentage, but if you have any experience in public sector, if you have any publication, if you have something which overcompensates for the percent, then you can make a case. But typically, they would look for that minimum criteria. So my request is, if you feel that your percentage are quite low compared to the entry requirement, write to the course coordinator and just check with them and say, my percentage are lower than the entry requirement, but I have a lot of experience in the public sector, I have publication. Sailesh, can you mute your mic if that's okay? I can't. Thank you. So coming to that question again, if your percentage are lower, contact the course coordinator and just check with them whether you're eligible or not. But most of the courses will have that minimum criteria, and they may not allow you to submit. They may not see that you're eligible. So you have to be aware of that.
Okay, thank you so much.
Welcome.
Hello, sir.
Hi, Sakshi.
Currently I'm pursuing my master's from JNU, and I'm interested in applying for MSc in Sustainability, Enterprise and Environment. I have one specific question regarding transcripts. Right now, as I'm in the second year, I do not have my transcripts of first year.
Yeah.
And I'm also very skeptical that I will get my transcripts by September. So will it affect my application?
Yeah. That's fine. Do you have the undergraduate transcript?
Yes, I do have.
So submit that. Submit your transcript for the first year if you have. And
No, I do not have. Still, I do not have.
then just submit the transcripts you have and just state that you don't have the recent transcript. Now, what typically will happen is if you're accepted, you would get a conditional offer saying that before you can start your studies at Oxford, you have to get at least that percentage in your master's course. And once you produce that transcript, the conditional offer becomes unconditional offer.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yes.
So you just submit the transcripts you have, If you're accepted, the department says, Sakshi, we accept you conditionally, conditioned on you providing the transcript and you getting a first grade, first class.
Okay. So because of this, I cannot apply to OICSD, right?
You can apply. So as long as your course accepts you, you will
Okay.
be eligible for the scholarship. It would be a conditional offer though.
Okay.
So the thing is, the timelines are you make an application in December, January, but you may have your transcripts by next year, right? So at that point, you can give the transcript. So your conditional offer will become unconditional, if that makes sense.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Welcome. And Sakshi, what I would recommend again is check with the course that you're applying for. Again, different courses can have different requirements. You tell your course, I have an undergraduate transcript. I'm currently pursuing my master's. I don't have the transcript yet. I will have it next year. Can I apply? You should be okay.
Okay. Thank you.
Welcome.
Hello, Siddharth. This is Kavi here. I just wanted to ask, I have two queries, very small one. First is how many scholarship a person can apply for? And how, so can you answer this first? Then I will ask you the second one.
So at the OICSD, you don't apply to any scholarship. You're automatically considered for a scholarship based on whether you are accepted for a course or not.
Okay.
Does that answer your question?
Yeah, okay, I get it. And the second question I wanted to ask is do we also need to submit any language certificate while we are applying for this?
So as part of your course requirements, you have to submit English language proficiency. So again, on the course website, each course will tell you what the minimum expectations are. For a vast majority of the courses, I think they need IELTS, a score of 7.5 minimum.
Okay, thank you.
But again, go through the course website and check very carefully as to what the English language requirements are for that particular course. Because they are very specific, that they need this is an example, that the minimum has to be 7.5 on IELTS with a minimum of 7 on each individual component. So again, go through the course entry requirements and the criteria and look at the English language requirements. And they are very particular about it.
I have one question related to this only. So in my course in which I'm interested, there they are saying that I can provide medium of instruction certificate and they'll be considering that. So will it be fine if I provide that medium of instruction certificate?
So, and that's why I said check your course website very carefully, because different courses can have slightly different requirements. So if your course coordinator, Sakshi, at Oxford told you that an English language letter or proficiency from your university would be okay, then all you need to provide is a letter from your university saying that the medium of communication, medium of teaching was English. Then that should be okay as long as your course coordinator has told you that they would accept it. In some cases, they might not accept for other courses and say they want an IELTS certificate.
Okay, thank you.
Welcome.
Can I just slightly intervene here? Thank you, Siddharth, and thank you everyone for these great questions. We will have, so I'm in touch with Azhar, and we'll have more sessions with scholars who have applied to Oxford, who will be better placed, I feel, to answer very specific queries about the application. So if you have any last questions about the OICSD scholarships, about the center's work, and anything related to Siddharth's presentation, we'll take 2 more questions and then close the session. But we'll have 2 more sessions with very specific sessions about PhD applications and master's applications later with Eklavya. And Azhar will keep you all posted. So if we can take last 2 questions. Is that okay, Azhar?
Yes, perfectly fine.
Thanks, Neeraj.
Do we have any questions about the center?
I have a question.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hello, I'm Shragoto. I have completed my master's in English from Jadavpur University, and I'm planning to apply for MS in Digital Scholarship. So it was only this year I have completed my master's, and as of now, I mean, I got to know about my final grade, but that's digital. But I do not have the access to the physical copy. Also, at this moment, I cannot apply for academic transcript because it's running so late. So at this moment, can I just apply with like partially digital copy and partially digital copy and rest of it physical? So can I do it like mixed?
I'll give a 2-part answer to your question because it's a very specific question.
Yeah.
There's a scenario where you don't have the physical transcript because you recently completed your degree. That should not stop you from applying. You can specify the grade in your application and you can attach a digital copy along with the application. You can also specify that you will have a physical copy sometime in the coming months.
Okay.
Don't let the deadline pass just because you don't have a physical copy.
Okay.
If you still have doubts, you can write to the course coordinator. And I think personally for me, in case of any doubts, write to the course coordinator that you're applying for, the MSc course, and tell them, I meet all the eligibility criteria. I've gone through the website. I don't have a physical copy yet. I have a digital copy from my university. I have requested a physical copy, which I will have sometime later next year. I'm just going to make an application with my digital copy. What typically will happen is if you don't provide all the grades, you may get a conditional acceptance letter saying that we accept you with a condition that you will provide the whole transcript in a physical copy or digital, whatever, before commencing your studies at Oxford. So you should be able to apply, but in case of doubt, write an email to your course coordinator for the MSc program and see what they say.
Perfect. Thank you.
All the best.
Sir, can I have one last question?
Just 1 second, Gokul. This is the last question for today's session. Does anyone have any more question? Please mail to Eklavya GSP. I will put a mail ID in chat box, and we are going to organize 2 more sessions regarding that scholarship. So Gokul, please.
Sir, actually, the session was great. I learned a lot. Thing is, ki now my name is Gokul. I'm pursuing my MSc Life Science at NIT Rourkela. So thing is, ki I was looking for the MSc Forestry course in UK. There is only one university which is Bangkok. So I got the offer letter. Everything was done. So my question is, ki whether you know any personal, scholarships for especially or forestry or MSc, because none of the universities having that MSc forestry. I checked for a lot. Then I now I'm stuck with the scholarship only. My offer letters are ready, and then I submitted every contact certificate. Everything was done. After submitting grades, they will provide me unconditional offer letter. Thing is, I need scholarships. You know any scholarships personally other than this?
Hi Gokul, congratulations on the offer, but unfortunately OICSD is not affiliated to Bangor about any of the programs. We might, write to Eklavya and maybe they can connect you with somebody there. So Oxford doesn't have any connection with.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Gokul, I will call you regarding that. Thank you.
Sure.
Yes.
Sure, sir.
Gokul, congratulations on the scholarship. And sorry, I can't help on the offer. Sorry, I can't help you on the OICSD front. But
okay, sir.
I'm not aware of any MSc in forestry either. So sorry, I can't help on that one. But I hope Eklavya can take it forward for you.
Sure, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Yes. Thank you so much, Siddharth sir, for this valuable session and valuable information for us. And thank you so much, Neeraj da also, for coordinating these sessions, and all of you to joining this session. Thank you so much, all of you. We will take two more session regarding this scholarship. So stay tuned. We are posting the scholarship session detail in our WhatsApp group and community group. Thank you so much, Siddharth sir, once again, and Neeraj da. Thank you so much.
Thanks for having me. And I just want to say all the very best to all the participants who joined this call. Do make the application well before the deadline if you're making an application to Oxford. And again, all the very best.
Yes. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.